Well, welcome everyone, and thank you for joining us again on Wednesday night, the 4th of September. We're coming into spring in Melbourne. If you're listening around the world and you don't have spring, you're missing out on something in Melbourne. We've had a couple of really beauty days down here. Joining me tonight on our drive home panel is we've got Phil East from Profit Improvers. Phil as our resident panelist. How are you, Phil?
I'm sensational, Glenis, as usual.
Absolutely, and getting better as the day goes on, right?
That's it.
Great. How's the weather over there with you?
Similar to Melbourne. It's been sensational today. Warm, a little bit of a breeze. Great spring weather.
Fantastic. Awesome. And look, we have our special guest panelist on tonight, Dave Dickson. And Dave is with AllianceZ, and he specializes in creating joint ventures for business, which, if you don't already know, joint ventures is one of the quickest and the cheapest ways on how to generate leads, and probably the most efficient. And Dave is going to share some stories with us, tell us a little bit about what's a joint venture, and some stories that maybe we could put some unlikely people together tonight. So it'd be quite creative. So thanks for joining us, Dave. How are you? And where are you? Are you in space or something?
Well, yeah, I took a note from all the guys that were traveling to space and thought I'd go there myself. So why not? Coming to you from out of this world. No, I'm doing well, Glenis. Thanks for that. Yeah, like Phil said, it's been a beautiful day today. I'm hoping it holds off for a little while yet because I'm not home. And they're predicting some rain, and I don't want to get stuck in that on the way home.
Got it, because you're on a bike, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's very good. That's good. So before we get into the juicy part of the night, everyone, I just want to share, why are we doing these weekly drive homes, talking business? Oh, by the way, we got Chris. Chris is on his way home driving from Ballarat, from Melbourne to Ballarat. So he enjoys these podcasts every Wednesday night as well. But look, we're doing, we're part of the Referrals over breakfast networking group, and we are highlighting all the members that are in that group with a podcast on the drive home on a Wednesday afternoon. Business is a big beast, and there's so many different aspects into it, and so we get to highlight all these people that some great little businesses that we have in our group. And of course, you've already heard about who I am, Glenis Gassmann. I'm a business breakthrough specialist, coach, mentor. And I help you with the basic business fundamentals. Most people have forgotten about them, and you've got to have these in place in your business before you start scaling and growing. And so I work with business owners, and I show them how to do that. I coach or I train them, whatever is needed to do that. So we between Phil and myself, we keep you all accountable and keep you in line and achieving your goals that you need to achieve. So tonight, we're going to talk about JV. So, Dave, I'm going to throw over to you. What's a basic form of a JV, joint venture?
Oh, the basic form is two companies partnering to help market a product together. And it can go a couple different ways. One company can have a product that works with another company's clientele and vice versa, and that's probably the simplest way. You're combining a database to reach more clients. Yeah.
And can you give me an example of that? Just quickly, a real easy one.
Quickly, a real easy one. I don't get those too often. Yeah, like I said, because they're so quick and easy, most companies discuss it amongst themselves and go in and do it. Yeah, I don't have an example of that one. I'm sorry.
That's all right. Well, I was talking to one of my clients today, and she's a reflexologist. And she's been away traveling around Byron Bay for the last seven weeks, actually. She's created a business where she can do that, which is awesome. But she also specializes in women's health, especially women over 50 in menopause. And she met a nutritionist while she was up in Byron Bay, as you do, sitting in these coffee shops up there. And she noticed him, and he had written a book around nutrition. So she went over and introduced herself, had a conversation. And anyway, they're ending up doing a JV together where he's providing her his nutritional information to go with her online workshop with menopause. And and then he's also going to go out to his database with nutrition and the online database that this client has got. So that's in its simple form.
That's a perfect example, yeah.
Yeah, it's where everyone has a win-win-win, right?
Mm-hmm.
A win for each business owner, but it's also a win for the client because, you know, a woman in menopause who's going and doing an online course, if she can get some advice and some recipes around the types of food she can eat that's going to minimize any symptoms, well, then that's just an added bonus. That's added value.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I mean, more
that's
value
just
out of
something that came across my desk today. What about you, Phil? Do you know of any easy, simple ones before we get into the hard ones? Because Dave's got the hard one.
Well, I could actually enter into a joint venture myself with a business broker, and if they're looking to sell a business, I could help that new business owner maximise the business they're purchasing, or help that business build it up so it's a great saleable item for the business broker to sell. So that would be another simple joint venture.
So you've got two ends of the stick there. So if the businesses come to the business broker and say, hey, I want to sell my business, but the business broker goes, well, you're not going to get the money you want for it. You've got to build it up. He calls you in, 12 months, boost it up. But then the business broker gets more money for that because he gets a percentage of sale normally. But then the new people that coming in to the business who also already have a business coach that knows their business that could help them in the first 12 months just get, you know, a better bang for their buck. That's a great one. That's awesome.
So I'd say, Dave, would I be right in saying the key to having good joint venture may be similar customers?
Well, yeah, not only similar clusters, but a similar outlook on things as well. Because even in the example you gave, Phil, that you both have an end goal to help that client a little bit more. But if you both are going after it for opposite reasons, the joint venture won't work in no way or form. Yeah.
That's interesting. And I just want to say hi to all the people that have joined us tonight. We've got a lot of people on the line tonight. I know we have Anna. Thanks for joining us again, Corey. Sam. We've also got Joan. Joan seems to be there quite a bit, and Aaron. So thank you all for taking the time out to join us on our drive home because we love talking business, don't we, guys?
Love it.
So, Dave, tell us, when did you get interested in joint ventures, and why are you so passionate about that?
Well, it's funny because I was, as you know, Glenis, I was a business coach at one time myself back in the U.S. And what I realized, the biggest part of my business was helping these businesses find other businesses to partner with. So I just kind of excelled at that part of the business, and a few years later, that's all I actually want to do because, as you know, I don't really want to be the business coach. There's much better opportunities working with folks who do it.
Many times.
I know you have. I know. It's not the space I want to be in anymore. And people like you and Phil are fantastic at it. So it's better to rely on those kind of folks that are really passionate about it. Whereas I'm very passionate about finding partners for businesses. So.
Yeah. No, that's great. I had a client up in Queensland who, in my accounting days, and his business was, he was a finder, and in those days, I'm talking in 93, and he had a big high ace van, and he would just find some really unique things around different places. Like, it wasn't even op shops, it was just different places. He'd find different things, and then he'd just drive around and he'd sell them to people. And, I'm talking, back in 93, he was making a good $40,000, $50,000 profit on the bottom line, which is pretty good then. It's just driving around on a high ace, right? He was called a finder, but it was a finder of product and, something like that. You're not that. You're a finder of people who want to do joint ventures. Can you tell me how reluctant or how non-reluctant, like how, quick and easy people say, oh, yeah, let's do this, or as opposed to they're a little bit, skeptical about it?
Well, when people I meet are always, I haven't met a company yet that says, yeah, I want to get into a joint venture. They're always very excited about getting into a joint venture until they realize they have to give value to the joint venture.
Yeah.
So yeah, but going on the other side of it, when I'm trying to find the businesses to partner with, it's really in how you approach the business. It's talking to them in their language and talking about how it's going to help their business. And usually they'll come around. I haven't really had too many problems about people saying, no, I have no interest in that. It's more about, yeah, let's sit down and talk about it. Let's see what we can put together here. The exploration part of it is the best way to look at that. Yeah.
And the other thing is, what sort of percentage do people take? Because I know that's a big question that comes up for me a lot of the time. It's like, well, they're going to take a percentage of my fees, and I'll go, yeah, but you're better off being a small piece in a big pie than a big piece in a small pie, right?
Yeah. Well, that's exactly it. Yeah. And again, that's always a good negotiation tool, because most folks that operate like I do, we will take a piece of the back end, but again, I'm not taking 50% of the profit or anything like that. You don't do that, because that's hurting everybody in the mix. You take it's like you said, you're taking a little piece of the pie, and even the two businesses that are working together, they have to think about that themselves, of how much are they going to get out of the deal. And but the percentages vary across the board. I know companies that will literally split profits down the middle. Yeah. So they each take 50%. But I know the ones, somebody will take 20, the other will take 80. It just depends on what you're bringing to the table.
Yeah.
Who's got the more leverage in the relationship is the best way to look at it.
Yeah. And do you negotiate those relationships, Dave?
I do, to an extent, yes. I don't put it into a contract. I will help them understand where their best value is and where they're going to look. But when it comes to getting those contracts together and do the absolute, this is, putting it down in ink, that's when you want to bring a lawyer into the mix. I'm not a lawyer in this country. I can't actually do that kind of advice.
Well, I also know that in the RoB Academy, so part of being part of the RoB network is all the members get access to the RoB Academy. Mm-hmm. And in that RoB Academy, we have some videos around, how to set up a joint venture, as far as, different ideas. But we also have, I believe, Phil, don't we have some other material in there?
You do, yes.
Yeah.
Yep, there is videos, and also not only does it help you understand the joint ventures, but it also lets you understand and calculate what Dave was talking about. Well, how much is the deal? How much am I going to benefit from it? So how much can I afford to give away, or how much do I want to? What am I really making out of this joint venture? And that's a very good thing. And the detail in the RoB Academy and the lessons that it goes to is, I just can't believe how easy it is, but it's such an eye-opener about all the different steps that are involved. But when you follow them through, it's very logical. So I think from the RoB Academy's point of view, it's just a massive benefit to any business owner, especially when it comes to joint ventures and strategic referral partners.
Yeah. So Dave, you've looked at it as well, haven't you?
Oh yeah, the information back in the RoB Academy is fantastic for joint ventures, and honestly, the more educated a business is around even the joint venture, the better it is for them in the long run. Because even if they're employing somebody, maybe they're talking to somebody like me, if they know exactly what they're getting into, it helps me move things forward so much quicker. And the information in there is fantastic. It really is.
As they say, knowledge is power, everyone. Yes. Knowledge is power. Hey, say everyone, like, if you've got any questions for Dave or Phil or I, just pop them in the Q&A. Type them up in the Q&A area there, and I'll take some questions in a moment. I also was talking to one of my clients yesterday, and you might have already heard about the bearing shop that I'm very proud of, because I know nothing about bearings. I'm learning a lot about bearings, and because bearings are never going to go. Some people think that it's a really old-fashioned industry, but it's not, because robots have bearings. The bearing supply industry is well and truly, okay, it's going great. But anyway, last year, we came up with a concept of an annual calendar because he's a little bit old school and he loves the calendars. And we had room at the bottom for 4 advertisements. And so he rang up 3 other complimentary businesses and said, hey, do you want this? It's going to cost you $250 and and I'm going to give you 250 annual calendars to give out as a Christmas present. And the cost is X. And he got people on just like that. Yeah. And so there's 4 people to the party of this joint venture. And he's just rerun them all again and said, hey, do you want to go in for next year? And you know what I told him to add? So I said, why don't you give them 45 minutes with me? And I'll deplete what uniqueness they have. And then I can give you the ad. So we've got a different ad for them this year, but it actually hits their target hot buttons. And we start getting a little bit more business from these annual calendars. So not only did they prove to go out to 250 of their A-class clients, each business, it was a Christmas gift, but then they had 4 businesses advertised. And that cost each person less than $500. Cool.
And and they're targeting how many people? And
1,000.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's
so that's just now that strategy is in the e-learning system, by the way. Yeah. So, we got any questions?
Well, if I may, there's one thing that I really enjoy about these webinars and talking to people experts in their field like Dave is because I learn so much. And before we get to the listeners' questions, if you can just indulge me, one thing that I talk to people about joint ventures, the main pushback I get, is they feel that it's some way immoral or unethical or something to monetize a referral, and they just think that no, he's a good bloke for doing that for me, and I don't going to ask him for any money, or I can't do that. What do you say to people like that?
I find that quite interesting, actually. And that may be a culture thing, though, Phil. So, because I'm from the U.S., we try to monetize everything. So, but no, if I have run into those kind of folks, and they're like, no, I'm not going to give you anything for that. But it's as simple as, well, if you don't have that lead, would you have that income? And I'm not asking for a lot. And I mean, I'm affiliated with like 4 different companies at the moment, that if I help them move their products, I get a little piece of the pie. Yeah. So I think it's just getting them to understand, if we weren't talking, if this never happened, you would never have that lead. But it's also something you want to talk about up front. Yep. You don't want to come to them, oh, look, I have this lead and it's going to cost you 30% of the sale. I think that's a real kind of unethical way to do it. So you want to make sure when you're getting those referral partnerships like that, that discussion happens before there's any partnerships in there. And it's got to be value for both sides.
Cool.
Yeah.
Now, just one other thing. Now, when it comes to language, there's we've heard joint ventures, we've heard referral partners, there's commission agents, there's if you're a usual subcontractor or something like that, is that a joint venture? I'd say it may be. Well, are they all the same thing, or are they all different, Dave?
Oh, I feel that they're all different. Other people may disagree with me on that one. Well, subcontractors and commission agents they're simple. They're salespeople. Commission agents are salespeople for the particular company. They're not bringing anything new to the table. They're not enhancing the company in any other way than bringing them a customer, and they're getting paid for it. But a subcontractor doesn't have the full contract, so it's as simple as that. He doesn't have he doesn't have all the skin in the game. He's only got a partial skin. When you're doing a joint venture, you're both putting skin in the game. You both have to be able to, if it fails, you both hurt. But if it succeeds, you both win.
Yeah.
Cool.
I always like to do it's a win-win-win though.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
That's it. And that's what the old Stephen Covey win-win, and you throw the other partner in there, you've got the win-win-win. So
yeah, absolutely.
Excellent.
Have you
I do
got
have.
some questions you can take from the Q&A, or have you got any more, Phil, that you want to get clear?
Oh, that's all right. We'll go with the Q&A if you've got one there. Or I've got another question, but they might be similar. So we'll see how we go.
I have one more question, Dave. I just want to ask you: do you have any horror stories, JV?
There's always horror stories somewhere in there.
You know, because quite often we learn from horror stories. You know, because we can always say all the things. You know? Yeah.
Well, I think the biggest horror stories I have is when one side of the deal doesn't live up to their part, and it's as simple as that. Because I was setting up, and I'll talk a lot about events and stuff because that's where I specialize in the States. Just so you understand. So I was setting up a joint venture between an event company. Well, this guy was doing two of them, but let's say the event company and a solar farm. And it was a total win all the way around if they both just stepped up to the plate. And the solar farm guys did. They said, yeah, it's great. You have the other property. Everything's right in it. And then the event guy just, he said, well, I want more out of the deal. And it wasn't costing him anything. All the financing was coming from the solar farm. And he was just providing the land that he wasn't using anyway. And the biggest thing is he just wanted more and more and more and more, and he wasn't willing to put more into the game. So those are the biggest horror stories I've always said. So that, obviously, that one fell over. It kind of crashed and burned, and I was sitting with egg on my face in front of the solar company going, I'm sorry, I don't know what this guy was thinking. So you know, but it does happen.
Even if we have an agreement, because I'm big on agreements, they may not be legal, but a heads of agreement. You know, when any two parties want to start getting involved, you know, you have a heads of agreement, and it's just a framework. It's a framework for people to know. It's nothing different for kids with boundaries around things. Okay, so it's a framework where two parties can work together. So when you start talking about a joint venture before you get into, you know, all the contracts, will go and spend money at a lawyer and things like that. There should be like I call it an HOA, a heads of agreement done, where both parties sign it in line with where they want it to be, the intention, the profits, that, you know, who's putting what into it. So there's a clear intention. Yeah. In that space that you were in just then with the solar farm and the event company, was there anything like that in place, or
you know the answer to that? So
probably not, right?
No, they both kept hesitating to do it. Is where it came down to, and that I mean, it fell over before anybody had money in the game, which was good. Yeah. But it was just, that was a very weird circumstance, and unfortunately, I spent hours upon hours to put that together. And, so I walked away with nothing too. But look, it happens. It does happen.
Yeah, so the moral of the story, of that horror story, people who are listening, is always get a heads of agreement up. And you can just Google what they look like. You don't need any major document for that. No. But, you know, at least you get your framework right. If you're looking at going into a joint venture with anyone, you've got a bit of a framework where each party knows what they're up for. Absolutely. Yeah. Always have that conversation so you have it and put it down. And the more you can get down in that heads of agreement, you know, even if it changes as the deal moves along, at least you have that to begin with. You have that framework to start with. It's very true. No, I got it. I think that's great. So Phil, do you want to ask your next question, or?
I've actually, there's one in the chat box there from Mick. Thanks for joining us, Mick. Good work. Yeah. Mick says, where should I look for referral or JV partners? Well, I think that depends on the industry you're in. But to be straight, I find them everywhere. So I think when you're kind of trying to look for these kind of things and starting to look for them, just keep your eyes open and have a conversation. The more you can talk about it, the more people are just going to pop up, and you'll be surprised where you're going to find your referral partners. But if you're looking in a specific industry, try to go to networking organizations in that industry, or industry-specific groups is where you're going to find them. Yep.
Okay, and I have another one in here. It's from Joan. So Joan, thank you for joining us. I know you were on the first couple of calls with us way back yonder. But she says, you know, what's the weirdest JV that you've ever seen work? So we're talking weird. Yeah.
Oh. The weirdest JV I've ever seen work.
Like most unlikely, I presume, Joan. Is that what you mean? Yeah.
That's hard because I don't see anything as unlikely. So you know me well enough to know. I can tell you some ones that have just gone so much further than I ever expected them to.
All right. We'll come back to the weirdest one, Joan, because
I'll keep in the back of my head.
Well, I have an idea, and Phil might have some crazy ideas as well. But anyway,
tell yours. Let's hear yours first. Let's answer the question right up front. Go ahead.
All righty. So, like, I've seen a painter and a real estate. You know, painters are in the trades, real estate selling houses. Painter said to the real estate, you know, I will do $5,000 worth of painting for any home that you sell. Because when people buy a new home, the first thing they do is want to paint something to make it feel their own. So he supplied the paint, but then he upsold them at the same time and then gave back the real estate guy some commission from all the upsales. So I thought that was a really ingenious sort of thing, really, because you don't often get a real estate person doing a JV with a tradesperson, you know. But hey, it works. It worked.
Oh, well, I'm starting to see some real estate guys do JVs with charities now. So maybe that might fall into the weird category. I thought that was kind of
how does that work?
Well, it's a simple promotion to the database. The charity has a database.
Yeah.
The real estate agent wants to get more people to know who he is.
Yeah.
And so they promote each other. So the real estate agent promotes the charity when he's going around, and there's a whole online thing with it as well. But as he's going around talking to clients, he promotes the charity to them, and the charity then promotes this real estate agent to their database. So
that works.
So
it works as well. And Anna's got one. Thanks, Anna. When's the best time to do a JV?
I'll say it this way: it's when you're ready. And most companies think they're ready and they're not. So the best time to do a JV is when you actually are really firm on where you are, where you're going, and you have you have a database to work with. Because if you don't have a database, you don't have a nice contact list, no matter what you're trying to do in a JV, is probably not going to work. So the best time to do it, I don't know whether it's a good time or a bad time, but it's really when your business is ready to move forward. If you're not finding traction in your marketplace the way you expect to, that might be a good time to look at a JV.
Okay. Phil, you got anything to add to that?
Yeah, I was just going to say about when people start a JV, one of the misunderstandings is that they're like one of their customers, so they have to actually do all the work and all the heavy lifting for them and make it as easy as possible to get the JV up and running. So would that be right, Dave? Would you agree with that? And if so, what sort of things would it be that they'd have to actually get going to make it a good foundation for a strong JV?
Well, I totally agree with you there, Phil. That's one of the reasons the way I go into a company is to find out whether they're actually ready for that and then find out the value. And it's all about knowing the value you bring to that other company or that, let's say, another industry, because it's not always going to be, you want to bring to this industry. It's a like industry, but it may not be the one you're absolutely targeting. And doing the research in that industry and understanding how that works and how those companies work in that industry and knowing how you're going to fit in. So you have everything ready up front. So when you're approaching that business in that industry, they know, well, the two of you know it's going to be a good relationship. So the value's there already. You're handing the value to them on a silver platter is really what you want to do.
Mm.
And so also with that, you'd have to give them the, I presume, scripts and what they've got to say and when they've got to say it. And
Absolutely. Give them the marketing materials. Tell them what you want them to tell their customers.
Yep.
And make sure they agree with it. If they don't agree with how you're, even the way you're wording, take it back, reword it, and give it to them again.
Yeah, excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. Now, I know, I don't want to harp on it, but I know that in the RoB Academy, oh, pardon me, they speak about the buyer's journey and where the buyer goes, and another thought about the buyer's journey is their journey and where they're going to buy from in that sequence. So if I'm going to get, if I'm going to ask my girlfriend to marry me, what's going to be my journey along the way of going through that whole process? So looking up and down that buying process, would that be another good place for Mick to find some referral partners and JVs?
Oh, absolutely. If you know your buyer's journey in any kind of industry you're in, and the one you're talking about is fantastic because your buyer's journey is that you have the wedding, you have a jeweler, you have the wedding celebrants, you have the hall or church, you have a band. So that's all along that buyer's journey from, asking her to marry you all the way into that wedding day. There's about 100 different things that you're going to be going on, maybe even more than that are all part of that buyer's journey. So if you are in that industry, you go in and say, where do I fit into that buyer's journey and how can I make the relationships to make that work best for me? And they are the referral relationships. Yeah.
Cool. So if I'm a real clever jeweler, because nothing starts without the ring, does it? I could actually have.
Well, there's a person involved first, but that's a whole dating service thing that we won't go into.
Well, there you go. You could be that too.
Yeah.
So if I was the jeweler, once they purchase that ring, I could basically recommend and refer all the way down the line, couldn't I?
Oh, absolutely. And that, like I said, I was in that industry and I saw that kind of stuff happen every day. It's kind of amazing. And the partnerships that form in there can be absolutely very, very lucrative, but just an amazing thing. And it elevates the whole process too. It's not, you're not staying in one stagnant line. You're actually elevating the process for the customer.
So the maths in a joint venture might be something like 1 + 1 = 4 or more.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I was just going to go into the numbers, Phil. As you know, I'm pretty serious about numbers. And in fact, tomorrow night I'm doing a presentation, how to fall in love with the right numbers. So it's going to be pretty exciting. But let me talk about numbers around joint ventures, guys. In what Phil and Dave were talking about, typically you could probably get 10 people in that joint venture chain. And if you were a person in that joint venture chain, and if you lead generated via a squeeze page or something for each one of those other 9 people, and you handed them a lead every month, what's going to happen is they're going to come back to you and go, oh, you're giving me leads, I'm going to give you one, right? And without even doing a joint venture, so I know we're talking joint ventures, but this is just something else that a lot of people miss, is that if you hand a lead to all those other 9 people, and you could do a JV for it, more than likely you could get 10%, a clip, 10% off each one of those. And some of them are big ticket items, like we're talking, catering could be 40,000. All right, you've got flowers. You're not going to get away flowers without a wedding of 3,000. Okay, so there's 300. Yeah. So you start adding that up. You get one of those a month. You could just have a business doing joint venture chain in your business and go out and find leads for all the people in your chain.
I might go out and buy a jeweler just so I can do all those joint ventures. No, I'm just tickling over the dollars in my head now.
I know, it's amazing, right? You could be making 100K plus a month just doing that in the wedding industry. But look, here's the other thing that we could really talk about too, And that's, what about a business? You know, someone wanting to set up a business. Firstly, you know, the first point of call, they should come and see a business coach, hey, Phil, because we're going to put them on the right track, right?
Correct.
And then we're going to say, okay, you need to see Dave, because Dave's going to put you in touch with some people to do some JVs with. You know, we got to go to Chris, because Chris has got some social media, online, you know, presence that he's going to get them involved with. We've got some other people like you. What else do we need? We've got a printer. You know, we've got a whole lot of people in the business chain. There's insurances, there's finance, a whole lot of people. Now, just imagine if everyone in that chain started doing what I was saying in the wedding chain and said, you know, how about a lead, 10%, whatever. Your passive income stream could be building up, you know, and the new person that's starting off a business has, you know, a group of people that are going to really look after them.
Yeah.
So I just think that's a great lead generation strategy. Guys, you hear me talk about lead generation strategy. Joint venture chains, joint ventures are a great lead generation strategy. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, put your thinking cap on for the industries that you're in and see how many people you could come up with that is on the same buyer's journey as your client. That's a good point, Phil. Great point bringing up the buyer's journey. It sort of like it's now triggered a whole lot of things in my head.
Glenis is going to go off on a tangent now. We're going to lose her.
Well, there's actually just a question in there from Selena, Glenis.
Yeah.
Selena's been on just about everyone we've got now. Selena's just not sure how many business owners are really actually doing this. It seems like a fair bit of hard work in it, she says. What would you say to that, Dave?
Well, I'll say the first one probably is a bit of hard work. The first time you do it, it probably is. But I think you'd be amazed how many businesses are actually doing some form of a joint venture.
Yeah.
They're all over the place. But once you get the pattern down of what you're doing and how you're doing it, the future joint ventures they're a lot easier. And businesses that do them regularly, that's how they want to build. That they find that as their best build strategy out there. So it's just there's tons and tons of businesses out there.
I think that the other thing too, Selena, you know, I get that setting up the first one's probably a bit of hard work, but then after that, you're going to get in. It's like anything. You do something once, and the second time it's a bit easier, right? But look, I do say to people, you've got to make sure you have an agreement, and that, you know, you hold each other accountable to that agreement. So, you know, a great relationship is one where you see each other often, and you talk about the piece of paper, which is the heads of agreement that you've got in place. And is it working? Is it not working? You know, what can we do to make it work? Like, it's not a set and forget, Selena. So this is something that you should be putting into your calendar once a month to get in touch with the person and sit down and ensure that the relationship is kept, you know, active, but it's also kept in alignment with both businesses' goals, because you do want everyone to do the win-win-win. Yeah.
It's like you said, it's an ongoing strategy. You want to be able to talk when you have that the agreement's done. You want to be able to talk about the numbers and how they're working and reflecting for each business. The partnership has to be a good partnership long term, and if it's not, you need to know where your outs are as well. Your exit strategy needs to be in there as well.
That's it. You know, sorry, Phil, were you going to say something?
Oh, so I was just going to say, and actually putting in that work, just back on Selena there, just putting in that work helps you present your product, or helps your partner present your product in the way that you want it presented, and the way that you've put so much hard work into your product or products. You want them to be presented in the best way possible. So actually doing that work for your JV partner really helps you in the long term. So
that's right, because nobody really wants to write up a script or write up something about someone else's business, because they don't really know it, you know.
Yeah, and why would you want them to write up something about your business? Like you said, they don't know it. I want to be able to tell them what they need to tell the folks.
Yeah, what value proposition you've got.
Exactly.
All right, everyone. Well, we've got 5 more minutes. Get your last questions in if you've got some more questions for either Phil, Dave, or myself. And I also just want to talk while we're waiting on those questions, just in relation to the Referrals Over Breakfast networking group. We have our meeting this Friday morning at the Thrive Network. If you jump on Facebook, you'll see the event on there. Book your ticket, come along. You can meet us all there. Do some joint venture build some joint venture relationships, but more importantly, what we have there in the Referrals Over Breakfast is we have a group of business owners that are fully committed to growing other people's businesses. We do what we say. We have referrals over breakfast. We have a great breakfast. We don't monitor anything like that, so we're a little bit different. And we have guest speakers, 3 guest speakers a year that you can come in and listen to, and we have very high caliber guest speakers on that. The other thing that you get as being a member of the Referrals Over Breakfast is also access to the RoB Academy. And the RoB Academy is an e-learning system that I promise you that if you were disciplined and went through, one video workbook a week, within 3 months, your business would be different. But within 12 months, I guarantee your business will double your profits. But you've got to do the work. And so that's there available for you. And of course, if you need some coaching around that, either myself or Phil can actually handle that for you as well. So, this is something that you probably need to have a look at if you're really committed to growing your business. Remember what I said before, knowledge is power. So having that knowledge in and around joint ventures and building your relationships is powerful. That's how you're going to grow your business. So have we got any more questions in there? Oh, yes. How do you access the RoB Academy? So so we go to www.referralsoverbreakfast.com/academy. I'm pretty sure that's right, Chris. I know you're smiling. I'm hoping you're going to nod your head, right? No, he's just doing it. Anyway, we'll get that out to you. If you search it, you're going to find it, the RoB Academy, Referrals Over Breakfast /Academy. So have we got any other questions in here for Dave? Phil?
So, well, I suppose from me, if I've got myself a couple of red hot, what I think it might be red hot JV partners, how do I get a hold of Dave to sort it all out for me, or to vet these?
Hi, Dave. How do we get hold of you?
What happens there?
Well, you ask Glenis for my phone number, and she'll give it to you, and I'll give you a call.
I'm not your receptionist, Dave.
Oh, really? No. Well, literally, you can put my phone numbers up anywhere you want. And simple to email me. I'm all over LinkedIn and Facebook, so you can find me there as well.
Cool.
What do you want? How do you want me to go about that?
Whichever's easiest for you.
Well, look, I can do this. I'll put my email in the chat box for everyone. You can grab that.
That sounds like a great idea. That's awesome.
Cool.
And
you drop me a line.
I want to thank you both for being panelists tonight. It's been great recapping as far as joint ventures are concerned. You're never ready. You just got to jump in and do it. And you got to make sure you have a heads of agreement or something framework that you're both going to work towards. Do it the easy way to start off with. Look at your buyer's journey and find out what else your customers are buying, and go and approach people and see if they're open to joint ventures. Have your value proposition ready to go. And then if they're interested, then sit down and work out how it's going to look like. You might write up some scripts. If you need any of that information, it's all in the RoB Academy on how to do that. And if you need some coaching around that, obviously, you're going to come to Phil and I for any coaching. But if you want the ins and outs of any joint ventures and you want someone to negotiate for you, talk to Dave, and Dave's going to put his, he's put his email in the webinar chat. And just before everyone goes tonight, I just want to let you know, next week we have Corey Miller joining us, and I know Corey has sent me some information about his business. So Corey from Melbourne Business Video Production, he's going to be talking about all the things video does. So the power of storytelling in business, what gets in the way for people using video to promote their business, and how video can expose business owners' brand values and culture. It's going to be an excellent week next week. So that is Wednesday the 11th, Drive Home webinar hosted by More Customers, More Profits, but including Referrals Over Breakfast. Phil East is our resident panelist, and Cube Social, Chris Dobbin as well. Thank you, Dave.
My pleasure.
Parting words that you want to leave us with?
Oh, no, just get out there and have the conversation. You got to start somewhere. Yeah, and have fun.
Have fun. That's great. Phil?
Think win, 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 Glenis. You're all over it.
I love it. I love it. Let's win, win, win. Awesome. Okay, guys. Thank you so much for being on the call, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you.